give his gratitude and appreciation to the body in Cairo that paid for his PhD, okay? He was intending to come home. So that's who the flat belongs to. So this then becomes the bomb-making factory. And you may notice that all the macabre details that inquest gave in the bomb-making factory, they never hinted that they could interview al-Nashar or anything. He has totally disappeared from the scene. I'd be kind of surprised if he's still alive. Or the British intelligence has to be confident that he will never speak again, because they cannot allow you to hear his view of what was present in his flat. Obviously, his view is more important than anyone else's. He left it on the 5th, and he's a PhD graduate in chemistry. We actually would like his opinion of this sort of topic going on. Okay, so suddenly all the C4 story fades away, and you've got TATP, which is a gee-whiz new explosive without nitrogen in it or something, which explosive dogs usually detect. So it wouldn't be easily detectable. And that again is, it just turns purely into sort of air or vapour and doesn't leave a lot of trace behind. But it's quite volatile. You have to keep it cool, right? So we've got all this loony stuff about, oh, big refrigerator. There's initial stories of huge refrigerators in the flat, which you may notice has mysteriously disappeared in the later inquest tellings. And also they had a refrigerator in the car. And ice cubes in their backpacks to keep the TATP. Do you remember all that? That had to keep the TATP cool because it evaporates in a hot summer day, okay? Also, the cars had to have TATP left in them. At least one of the cars had these bombs, frightening bombs, which ABC News from America, a lot of the story comes out from America, right? Story keeps coming out from America, and the British Metropolitan Police aren't that keen of being supplied with the story from America, but they have to put up with it. So deadly bombs appear photographed in the little Nissan Micra left at Luton car park, okay, with these nails all around it, you know. Well, hang on, nail bombs were never part of the story. There were no nails. Nobody had nails in them at the in the tube. But so you've got nail bombs there with TATP. So TATP is alleged to appear in both cases. At no stage do you have any forensic chemist saying, I measured this, I analysed this, it was TATP, signed. You never get that. If it was a real police agency doing it, that's what they do. Supposing special branch still existed, that's what they would have done. Do you remember the special branch? It was respected throughout the world, over 100 years, you know, crime, so on. What happens after July 7th? Oh, special branch has morphed into anti-terror command, counter-terror command, right? So this absurd Blairite concept, counter-terror command, which Andy Hayman was the boss of, right? That is the Blairite replacement for special branch. And so counter-terror command has the, by definition, almost by definition, it has to seek out Islamic terrorists. And it's more engaged in a war, in fighting a war against terror, than it is in solving a crime. There's a bit of a difference there, okay? As British Muslims have been finding out. So the TATP, there's no proper chemical warrant for its existence ever, okay? No chemist will ever stand up and say, yeah. The inquest could not produce a chemist who would say, yeah, that's right, I measured that, yeah. There's an observer story of 22 pounds of TATP. Oh, right, yeah, I'll confirm that, and then how did they make the TATP? Oh, well, they just got concentrated sulfuric acid, acetone, concentrated hydrogen peroxide, and a freezing cupboard and a fume cupboard, because it makes a ghastly smell. And you have to add it one drop at a time over 24 hours, and you get this white stuff will appear. So perhaps they got, they felt after a while they didn't really want to go on trying to claim that those young lads could do that, or would want to do that. So by the time we get to the 2008 so-called July 7th trial, would you believe it, the TATP has all faded away as well. And there's another trial going on in parallel about which I'm going to go into, about the 21/7 lads, and that also featured TATP. It also faded away from there. So it was a general decision, look, the stuff isn't so good, can we just change the script a bit? So at the 2008 trial, where I was being filmed by the BBC, they kept telling me, that they were sort of conning me that they were going to do some conspiracy file programme, and would they hear my view, which they didn't, of course, they were just there to ridicule me. But I was being interviewed by the BBC at Kingston, and so the news story comes out, oh, black pepper and hydrogen peroxide. Great, yeah. So this is finally what the young men have bringing down in their rucksacks, black pepper and hydrogen peroxide. And the inquest just had to accept that story. Black pepper and peroxide won't really go bang, that's the only problem with it. Although with peroxide, it totally depends on the concentration. If your peroxide is concentrated enough, it will go bang with anything. 90% hydrogen peroxide is rocket fuel, 70% is explosive, and they buy it at 30%. Say they buy it at 30% from some shop. Okay, supposing that's possible. What do they do with 30% peroxide? Well, the inquest had totally mad stories about saucepans being found. Oh, saucepans, yeah. And they boil up peroxide in a saucepan. Well, all that will do is lose the oxygen, and you end up with water. Hydrogen peroxide will kind of degrade with almost anything you do with it, right? And I asked a real chemist, how do you concentrate hydrogen peroxide? He said, oh, you need what's called a fractionating column, and you do it under low pressure. Okay, a fractionating column it's quite advanced chemical apparatus. You wouldn't have it in a school, right? It's a university apparatus, and there's no suggestion that these lads have a clue about this sort of thing. So, hydrogen peroxide is a staple of any terror cell plot in Britain. And all that matters is that British media will accept it. They will believe it. I live in Walthamstow, and they recently discovered terror cells, and we were just told that bottles of hydrogen peroxide were there. That's sort of code word for a terror cell. And the total absurdity of the situation is that there's no conceivable way of them concentrating it from 30% up to something that will go bang. And even if they did have, how would they know they'd done it? If you've got a trick plot, you've got to know something's going to go bang. The only possible way they can know it can go bang is by making it go bang. And even the most mendacious witness who lives next to 18 Alexander Grove bomb factory isn't claiming that they heard bombs going bang, experimental bombs going off. Nobody claimed that around the Alexander Grove. So the story is a complete impossible non-starter. Once they've got onto the peroxide and black pepper claim, that is in effect a proof of the innocence of those lads. Okay? That is, for the conclusive proof of their innocence. It's not just whether or not they wanted to do it, or whether they're capable of doing it, or whether they wanted to commit suicide. They're all young lads life to look forward to, getting engaged and married, or with degrees, just about to get their degrees. None of them had any sign of wanting to end their lives or anything. But obviously other people will disagree about this. But what you can't disagree about is what they had in their rucksack that could not have gone bang in any significant way. What it would have done is do exactly what happened on the July 21st. Remember the so-called chapati bombs? Those are made with hydrogen peroxide in chapati flour. And they really were made with that, okay? Because I also went to that trial and I heard about it. They just wanted a gesture to scare people a bit, because we were bombing their country. So